Hello guys, welcome back to Created Zearth weekly updates. Even though recently it hasn't been weekly because I'm kind of a bit busy with life, but thanks for watching if you have always been following, and sorry for the lack of updates in these 2 months. Okay, so as usual, we always start with the news, and what you're seeing is that this week there are two high impact news for the global economics. First, we have one on Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning, on the industrial production. That's going to show how well China is doing, and we have the other one, on Thursday morning, the FOMC statement. So overall, the global indices has been really bullish, and who are we to say that it's bearish, right? And if anything is going to happen on the upcoming week, it's going to be on Thursday morning, for sure. Monday could be a possibility, but Thursday is the market driver here. Let's dive into the charts. Okay, as usual, we're going to start with UK. Of course, you see, like, if you're going to take a look at their weekly time frame, this is a very bullish sign, right? And I think last week I did mention that if the 7 to 50 area hold, you can long all the way to 7400. And of course, this was pretty true until Thursday and Friday. We're seeing rejections here on 7380 areas, right? So what we can do right now is that if you have long from 7 to 50, it's okay to take profit, on 7380. In fact, if you are a trader, if you have long there and it retests this area twice, you should have taken your profit last week, right? And if you are looking for long, then you have to see if this 7300 area holds. Do not blindly go in long because you are quite near to a resistance, and do not blindly go in short because we do not have enough information to tell us that the market is going to go back down anytime soon. So what I can say is that we are pretty much at the area of congestion where the bulls and the bears will duke it out around these two areas. Eventually, the winner is going to bring the market further up. So if the bulls were to win, I think we can easily retest Sun 450 or the Sun 500 areas. However, if the bears were to win, the Sun 230 areas is going to hold a little bit. If this is broken, we can easily come back down to 7150 areas. But of course, if you were to ask me, I prefer to look for areas to short, because if you can look at it, this could be wave 2 of the Elliott wave. So we may eventually go down further, go down to this area, but let's see, right? So quite confident that this Brexit thing is going to bring the UK market down, but the question is, when will it bring it down? So let's take a look at Hang Seng. So Hang Seng, I think 1 month back I mentioned something about if you want to buy into this market, you buy into the fundamentals, because there's just this small protest and that things are not going to go bad forever, right? So what you can say is that after the news on the protest being settled down, Hang Seng has, spiked up quite a lot. And of course, if you did not buy in the last 2 weeks and you want to buy in, like tomorrow, it's not a very good idea, right? So the best thing to do right now is to wait for the market to retrace and retest this area. Then when you see a bullish candle, then you can look for a long all the way to like 28,000 points. So there's nothing much that we can do right now for Hang Seng. It doesn't really make sense to go and short it because it's gone a lot, because when the market is bullish it can just go all the way. So this is a market that I would prefer to say sidelines instead of rushing in and cut loss positions that I'm not supposed to cut, right? So I'll be a little bit more patient on Hang Seng. let's talk about Australia. Just like in the UK, I think I'm seeing potential rejection for Australian market. I believe market may come back down to this 6580 areas before it eventually go back up. But I need to take a look at the fundamentals of these 200 companies here. I think it's still pretty bullish, but we shall see. Let's if you really want to enter a position for Australia, you can short a little bit. You can short about 50 pips, 60 pips. This is quite possible, but it's not like a 200 or 300 pips kind of short. So if you're looking for long, then just wait around 6580 to 6600 areas. So the S&P 500, what you're seeing here is that we have almost reached the all-time high. Unfortunately, we did not break a new high, right? And we're seeing what? We're seeing rejections on both Thursday and Friday. In order for this rejection to prove to be a real rejection, we need the price, to break below 3,000 points and has to close around 2980 on Monday. Then this is a confirmation for a rejection, right? So on Mondays, yeah, if you want to look for a short, maybe you can let it bounce up a little bit to, like 30, 10, 30 to 30, 15. Then you can look for a little bit of short to 2985. But I do not think that this is going to be, a long-term short unless we have a little bit of news. The reason why we're seeing some rejection is because the price is near the all-time high, and market is looking for a reason to go and to go further up to long it, because once the price reaches the all-time high, the value becomes pretty little. Like people have no reason to buy into this anymore, right? So that's the psychology behind it. So I think we will potentially see some rejection, some change of trend, but this could probably potentially just go sideways until the Federal Reserve speech. So yeah, if you need to look for a counter trend, a big reversal, we need a little bit of news. So the Dow Jones is almost the same as the S&P. We need a little bit more confirmation before we can short. You can enter a little bit of short, but once you break the all-time high, you have to cut loss, things like that, right? It's about how much you want to trade. There's no right or wrong. It's like how much you want to trade and how bad you want it. So same for Nasdaq. So for this oil, we're seeing a little bit of bullish movement. We're still creating lower highs over the week, but in fundamental wise, I don't think this is going to go up that soon. So unless this sloping resistance is broken, we're still in a pretty downtrend mode, despite the small channels that you're seeing here, right? So if you really want to go for a counter trend trade, maybe let the price go above here, give it a few more days, give it a week or two, then you decide, on how you want to trade it. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. As usual, thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys benefit from this sharing. Thank you, bye bye, see you next week.